So obviously that road trip didn't go well. What's kind of your biggest takeaway right now as to where the team is?
Well, I mean, there were same thing we've kind of been saying a little bit. There's been a lot of good things. I think the biggest thing is just if I were to give a brief synopsis, the youth has played it sometimes, but it's been our inability late in the game, kind of those last 6 outs to close games out. If you go back and you look at our season up to this point, we've been either in a position to win a lot of baseball games or in control of a baseball game, as witnessed on Saturday, and then just just not being able to get those last 6 outs. So, but in spite of that, I like this group. There's a lot of baseball left to play. Our focus is, we got to get one day better, and we've got to solve those. We've got to solve those issues on the mound, and some of it is out of our control in terms of injury. Some of it is just, for whatever reason, guys not performing well, and so we got to solve the problem. When there's a problem, you got to solve it. But I certainly like some of the things that we're seeing. There's some good stories of some of the individual performances, but it has to come together as a team.
Seems like sometimes when a team's struggling, sometimes the head coach changes things around. Is there anything you're thinking like that to maybe change up the rotation or change up the lineup in any way?
Well, I mean, if you go back, it's a problem we've known has been there. I mean, it's one of those where you're in control of a game, and even some of the games that we've saved or won late, the bullpen has been a concern. I mean, I don't mind talking about it because it's pretty obvious to see that. Maybe our approach has to be that if we're in a position, particularly, maybe like on a Saturday against Stanford, maybe you go to your Sunday starter to close it out and get the win and try to, figure it out on Sunday. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's something that we've looked at because at the end of the day, you can be good in this area and good in this area. The only area that really matters at the end of the day are wins and losses. So you try to do whatever you can to create a situation where you can control that win or loss. And so we may look at that going forward of announcing a Friday starter and saying we'll tell you who sat, not you, but tell the opposition, hey, we're going to try to win this. If we got to use Eli Lingos and whomever to win it, then we're going to win it. We'll tell you our Saturday, Sunday guys, on Saturday and Sunday.
Alec Marsh had another great outing on Friday night for the second straight week. What have you seen that's recently from him that's really made him successful? Well,
he's having confidence in the zone. I mean, he's thrown multiple pitches, for a strike. I think it's interesting when you talk about him, as we we're heading in and preparing for this season, those are the guys that we're talking about that we're going to be in our pen, and through injury and some of the failed performances and other things, we've had to bump everybody up, and that's been the part, back to your question, we've just not been able to cover those innings. And unfortunately that's led to some pretty heartbreaking and tough losses for us. The good side, you're in every baseball game pretty much to do to be in a position to win. The bad side of it is we're not closing the deal. He's been a huge part of even allowing us a chance to win and be in a position. He threw well enough, I thought, on Friday, and just in that game our offense didn't come around. And that's going to happen in the Friday in the Pac-12, but he did what he was supposed to do, and he competed in the zone aggressively and gave us a chance to win.
I'm going to follow up. Do you think his slider has been a big part of what he's been able to do recently?
Yeah, and he and Kat, they've been working on that. I think he's shown great aptitude in being able to add that fourth pitch, and it's made a huge difference for him.
Coach, what makes Spencer so impressive?
He's good. Everybody. I was talking to another coach today about him, and he said, boy, his power is, I said, it's not all about his power. He's a good hitter. He's a smart hitter. He knows what he wants to do. He'll talk about how the pitcher's trying to work him prior to the at-bat, and he'll have the discipline and the maturity, although being a freshman, he'll have the discipline and the maturity to execute his plan. In other words, if he's going up sitting on a particular pitch, he will sit on it until he gets that pitch and have the discipline to take another pitch, even if it's a strike. That's what good hitters do. They have a plan, they execute the plan, and he's done a really, really good job of that.
He seems to be getting stronger as the season progresses. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, most no secret, we're young this year, and I think he's done a really good job of putting some of the media chase of the Bonds thing out of his mind and just go be who you are. I think he's probably getting the most attention in terms of development piece, but there's some other guys I think are following his lead. Where you're going to see his grow even more is going to be what he does in terms of just his presence in the dugout, in the clubhouse, and his influence on the team, because I think that's his next step. He's doing it on the field. Now he's going to, I think he's going to let those other characteristics take over with our team.
Do you think he feels the pressure of a freshman, or is he beyond that?
It's just that's one of those things that sometimes freshmen do. They're uncomfortable doing that because the guys are older. Do I say something? Do I not? But the more games go by, I think the more comfortable he's going to be in that, and I think that's something that we're going to need moving forward, because you want that presence. You want his qualities, not just as a baseball player, as a hitter. You want those other things to rub off as well.
You've seen a lot of the top competition in the Pac-12 already, and still some to go. From what you've seen so far, what have they done really well in your mind that ASU could possibly emulate?
Well, you're looking at. I go back to what I said to Jeff earlier. We're two consistent arms from being a top 15 team in the country. And I go back to the UCLA's here. UCLA is a top 10 baseball team. We gave away a game to UCLA. And I could go down the weekend, every weekend in the pack. And Stanford was a solid baseball team. Again, we gave away a game on that. So it's just, we've got to find out of that bullpen. And whether it's going to be this year or not, I honestly can't tell you that. We're going to keep looking. But whether it be this year or through recruiting or what, we find those 6 outs, I think we're on pace to do what we said we were going to do. I think positionally we're going to stack up and line up with any team in the country, but it needs to get better on the mound.
And looking at the Pac-12 competition that's still coming up, some tough teams. You got Oregon State and U of A, both on the road. Just going down the rest of the schedule with those games, just what stands out to you, and how can maybe ASU, turn it around and at least?
Well, what you look for, you want to get better. You want to make sure you guys stay confident. You're building towards what are the pieces that aren't working right now, what are the pieces that are, and continue to build on the ones that are, but then get better in the areas that are absolutely not working for us. And I'll go back to it. We'll be in those games. I promise you, we'll be in a position to win those games. Now it's just learning how to win and closing the door on that. But we look at those as opportunity to get better and grow. Grow these guys within the program and continue to get better. That's what you have to do. So that's what we're going to do.
Skip, when you recruited Spencer, did you think he had the power that he's shown? I know he only hit 3 home runs in high school.
Yeah, he didn't. I'd love to sit here and lie to you and tell you, yeah, we knew he was good. But no, he's a good player. We wouldn't have brought him here. He's part of a really, really good class. But I think he's done a good job of taking what he's learning and applying that to a game, being able to make adjustments, because that's how guys grow and how they develop. And as good a season as he's having, there's a lot more left in that young man too. So, but he's a good kid. He's talented, but he's a good worker, and he's able to make adjustments, which to me is aptitude.
When you're that good at hitting home runs, are you able to coach kind of the at bat and kind of in that situation how to be thinking more of a home run swing?
What we talk about before you go, we just talk. Hey, what do you think he's trying to do to you? How's he trying to get you out? Here you got to pay attention to what the circumstances are. If the base is open, you're probably not going to get a lot to hit. But you just talk through that, and where he's good is he sticks to the plan. He's not afraid to take a walk when a team's giving him a walk. That's what separates him. He's not afraid to shorten up and go the other way in a situation that calls for a base hit rather than a 500-foot home run. So, that's the stuff that makes him special.
Are the young players that you've got, are they handling this adversity okay? Especially given the way the end of last year went.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that they're staying together, they're staying cohesive?
Yeah, but if you look at our roster, a lot of these guys weren't here last year, so a significant portion. Yeah, they are. The guys I feel sorry for a little bit are the Cannings of the world, and the seniors that gosh darn it, you want it to be a better result because they're doing things the right way. They're coming and they're working hard every day. That clubhouse is as strong as it was come the fall. So with regard to that stuff, that's why I know, this stuff will turn. It's not going to be a magic wand. It's not going to be luck. It's not going to. We have to get better on the mound. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. As long as our guys know that and are working towards something, we know that there's a championship caliber group here. It's just putting all the pieces together at the right time. But I don't worry about it. I really don't. I've not seen any quit. I go back to the Saturday, the tough one. Gage Workman, lets a ball go through his legs in the 8th, but then comes out and puts together, and hits a 400-some foot home run. And he didn't take his. That's what you're looking for. He didn't take what just happened to the bat. He's able to separate that. I think our guys have done a pretty good job.
Gage Workman is one of the guys, maybe more the unsung hero, who has seized a role, really solidified himself. Can you describe what you've seen from him in terms of that growth and really making the most out of that one opportunity he got?
Yeah, well, and it's tough sometimes to see the forest through the trees, and the trees right now are the losses and the things that have never happened at ASU baseball. But what brings me back and puts a smile on my face, and the reality piece of it is you've got the Torkelsons and the Workmans and guys like that. People forget that's a senior in high school. That kid's supposed to be a senior in high school and hitting 300 in the Pac-12 right now, doing what he's doing. So the future is bright, not only for him, but for us. And he's exactly what, I've said it before, he's exactly what you want. He's a guy that kind of worked his way in there based on what he was doing on the practice field and in limited opportunities. You get your opportunity, you take advantage of it, you grow from there. And, so in the midst of some tough losses and admittedly some tough losses that doesn't feel good to us, it doesn't feel good to them, there's some pretty good things happening. The future's bright, but I know you don't want to hear about the future. These guys don't want to hear about the future. We're still focusing on today and winning as many baseball games as we can the rest of the season. But at some point too, you got to take a step back and say, you got over half your roster is young freshmen. Let's not go crazy here or make decisions based out of anger or what people might think who have no clue what's going on here. You go about it systematically, and I'll circle it back around. We got to get better on the mound. We've had some injuries on the mound. We've had some guys that just we were counting on didn't come through. And if we find 6 outs probably a game, we're not sitting here feeling the way we're talking right now. And that's something that we have to take responsibility as a staff and correct. And I assure you, we're going to get that corrected.
What was your message to the team after Stanford, after some tough series in a row?
Well, I mean, I've always been honest with you guys. In the media piece of it, I thought we played well on Friday. Just didn't happen. Kind of a disappointing, but it seems to be we've done a lot of that one on Saturday where you got a game in control, and quite frankly, if you go throw your strikes and make your plays, you beat the number 2 team on the road with, again, a very young team that's still learning how to win. I thought Sunday for the first time after we came out and got the 2 runs. They hit the 3-run homer, took the lead. I thought for the first time this season, I almost felt we kind of rolled over in that game, and that was the first time. And that's what we talked about. It's like, hey man, it's a tough go. You got to see what we're building for. You got to keep working. And the only way that it doesn't work is if people start finger pointing and crawling into your own shell and woe is me, and there's no place for that. You can't do it. And so that was my message: is hey man, we're a lot of baseball left to play. It's here, and it's going to be good. It may not be good this year or what we want in terms of wins and losses, but it's going to be good. You got to believe that, and I don't think if anybody can't see that, the flashes of some of that, you're crazy. But our glaring weakness right now is on the mound, and we're going to address it and continue to address it.
Skip, forgive me if you addressed this right, but Carter said that you might be moving him to first. It's kind of what went into that decision.
Well, it's just looking at, we kind of look at Carter and Spencer just in terms of we want both of those guys in the lineup, but the physical piece of it, Spencer's been an outfielder primarily coming here. Carter's been an infielder primarily coming here. I just think skill set wise, you know, Carter may be a little limited on range, but when Carter gets his hands on it, he usually fields it. Spencer's had a little bit of difficulty over there in terms of his glove work and things like that, of no fault to his own. It's a new position. We've asked him to do something. But it's like, as we build towards the future, it's like, okay, if we're looking at this lineup and we take the physical skills, where are they better suited? And, you know, Torkelson, believe it or not, was a running back in college, or in high school, so he moves around pretty well. He's probably going to get to more balls in the outfield. So it's like, with where we are right now, we want to build towards that and give as many reps to both of those guys as we can at those positions.
We'll also have to have like a more experienced guy in the infield then?
You know, that's ain't going to hurt. You know, that's not going to hurt, but it was more based on the fact that the glove stuff around the bag has been a little bit of an issue for us in the last couple of weeks. You know, but again, I'm not going to blame him. We've asked him to try a new position, and we're just going to put him probably where he's more Spencer than where he's more comfortable, but utilize the assets that Carter has, which are his hands, you know, and his presence in the infield. Like I say, it's not going to hurt.
What's your confidence level right now with Alec Marsh on Fridays?
No, I mean, I have confidence that he's going to, you know, keep in the game. I would say, you know, pretty much with where we are because of, you know, circumstances on our pitching staff, we've had to bump guys outside of what I would envision their role being. You know, he's done a fantastic job so far for us in the Friday spot. Is that what I think he's, you know, gives us when we have it where we want it? Is that where I think he should be? Probably not, but I'm not going to take away from what he's done up to this point. He's done a really, really good job of giving us a chance to win. So I can't complain.
What do you think the key to his development has been since the start of the season?
I just think the aptitude that he's shown to develop another pitch and also utilize and be aggressive with those pitches in the zone. I think that's the biggest thing for him.
The defensive piece, like you were mentioning with Spencer, and that's come up and bitten you a few times here. Is that happening too much, or do you attribute that to, you know, the youth piece of it too?
Well, I mean, a little both. I mean, it's happening too much. I mean, you know, I knew we would probably throw 4 freshmen out there. I knew we were going to have to live with some things. But like, if we can eliminate, if we're struggling like we are on the mound, and we can eliminate maybe some potential errors out here, that you're willing to use it for development, but only if you can pitch over the top of it. We're not, you know, our margin of error right now is tremendously small. It seems to be every single mistake we make, someone will capitalize on. So if we can eliminate or potentially eliminate a physical, you know, error in the infield, or scoop a ball that maybe Carter has a better chance of, you know, then I think that's what we want to do. And for the future, it probably works out better for him because he is fast. I mean, he's remarkably fast. So I think it's going to help us honestly in both areas.
Do you think there's a chance that Carter will get back to third base at some point, or do you think that because of what Workman's shown you, you want?
I'll say this: in our pro, you get what you deserve. I mean, it's like, so if he continues, I'm never going to rule anything out, but I think Gage has done a pretty good job over there, and you know, you don't want to be tinkering a whole heck of a lot. So, but I think Workman, that's where he's going to settle in. I'd say both of those guys, if I'm looking into a crystal ball over the next year and a half or so, probably always going to be in the lineup. So how do you get the best 9 guys or 8 guys positionally on the field at the same time? That's the trick of it. Workman was a high school shortstop. Swift's a high school shortstop. Williams is a high school shortstop. Carter was a high school shortstop. McEwen, interestingly enough, had surgery today. We're finally figure out what's going on with him, but he'll figure back in the mix at some point. Was a high school shortstop. Now you can take those guys and plug them in. That's what you want athletically around the diamond.
The pitching group that you have coming in the next class, no matter what happens the rest of this year, is that going to give you those arms?
Well, yeah, I mean, the unknown always is, you know, the guys show up because of the draft. But in terms of physical, it's funny you said that. I'm driving in, you know, I said I want to see the numbers on these guys right now, because part of it is stuff, but it's also winners. You want, you know, guys that are used to winning, and you know, but of that group, which we got 8, 9 coming. It's like a combined 30 and 10, 30 and 11, so they're winners. We've got some junior college arms mixed into that, which we feel is important. It's tough to come in this league and throw freshmen out there and say, okay, go get them. I mean, mean, that's going to be a special case. I think Boyd Vanderkoy certainly was that guy, but no secret there. We've missed him for 4 or 5 weeks, and that's put a huge dent in what we're doing. But yeah, we feel like, you know, communicating today, I look at our lineup, and there aren't going to be too many lineups, offensively, defensively, that are going to be better than what we have. We want to make sure that what we're doing on the mound is matching. We have some capable guys here that have shown, but we have to upgrade in that area, and that is what we are doing diligently right now through the recruiting. And it's going to be a blend between high school and junior college, because I don't want to waste, and I'm saying this to a former player today, it's hard to see through the losses. I think you've been around that, but there's some pretty special players here. It's hard to get that many assembled at one time. I don't want to waste that opportunity. You know, if we get that match of what's going on positionally over here the next couple of years, that's what it's going to be. What we want. All of it's what we want.
Skip, I'm sorry if you answered it. So what's Boyd Vanderkoy's status?
He's day to day. I don't think we'll have him this weekend. Our plan, hopefully, is to get him back by Oregon State. But we'll continue to monitor that and go from there.
And then Jeremy McKeown, you said he got surgery?
He had surgery today. He had just kind of tweaked his knee way back as we were playing the Diamondbacks, just taking ground balls. Didn't really do anything to it, and doctors honestly have not been able to really find out what's going on, so they tried everything and it's just not getting better. So I think there's a little exploratory scope stuff today, I believe. So we'll find out, hopefully have some answers today.
Strand's situation is about the same, whether he can pitch or not?
We no. And we've been, his situation's been unique with his injury coming back. We had suspended him indefinitely for some violation of team standard things, and then most recently we've kind of and mutually have come to the conclusion, in both parties, I think in good faith, because I think Zane's a good kid or whatever, but we're going to decide to part ways at this time and root for him and hope that he can hopefully continue his education or even his baseball career at another place, but it's not going to be here. But he's and it's disappointing for him, it's disappointing for us, but we're going to try to help that young man and do whatever we can, because we missed him last year, we missed him this year, but sometimes that happens in sports. But no, we will not be. Zane will not be back with Arizona State baseball.
Do you feel that up to Ray's level, everybody's still on board?
Oh yeah.
With what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, Ray. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. In fact, conversations as recently as today with Ray. I mean, it's funny. I think everybody's wondering how I'm doing, and I'm good because I see it. I'm not good with how we're performing in certain areas, and as a competitor, there's nobody on this planet that wants to win more than me, and I don't care if it's your true blood fan or lifetimer or whatever, because we're putting in the time every day, but we're also putting in the time and seeing what is developing and what is growing here and what is missing, and we're going to address that. And and maybe it was me, you maybe set the bar too high, but when you're playing 5 to 7 freshmen a night, maybe we set it a little high. But it's been a combination of just some unfortunate injuries, a little bit of youth, but it's here, and everybody feels good about that. From those who know, and so from that perspective, no, I'm not worried about it. If the thing is, you're worried about losing your job, that's not even a concern. So we feel good about the direction we're going with these guys. They know, they see it. That's the good part. I mean, we have administrators that travel with us. I don't have to speak to Ray directly about it. I have people that see it. It's funny when you hear comments of teams that you play, the coaches are like, God darn, you guys are going to be really, but you don't want to hear that when you're losing. But we're going to keep moving forward. That's exactly our plan, and what we set out to do is the process that we've outlined 4 years ago, and we're going to continue to do that.